Alright, today I'll be showing you guys how to repair a kiteboard. This one's been cracked along the side. The rail goes around the fin towards the tail. This was done by my good friend and ocean monkey kiteboarding buddy, Javier. Javier likes to ride in the sand sometimes more than the water. He's a pretty crazy dude, but he has fun. So anyway, this is a little repair that he attempted. Of course you can see it probably lasted about 10 minutes. So what we'll be doing is grinding it down, getting down to the core, probably gluing the wood core back together where it's cracked, then glassing it over with a few layers of fiberglass, and should come out pretty good. Should be just as strong as new. So anyway, definitely help if you had a stand, something to support the board. This is an old stand I made back when I used to shape surfboards. Just made out of some 2x4s, some screws. Actually, at one time you had to actually shape surfboards by hand with the planer. Pretty long process, but somebody had to do it. Anyway, just go online. I'm sure you can find some kind of design, some kind of instructions to build a stand like this. Pretty simple. So we'll get to work on this, and maybe even get to meet Javier later. Oh, and I almost forgot one other very important thing. You definitely want to make sure there's no wind for a few days. You don't want to be working on your board, the fiberglass hasn't set up yet, and you're stuck without a board. So that's probably one of the most important things. Definitely make sure there's no wind. We just started working on this board. We're down in the Keys yesterday. Totally awesome place to kite. If you've never been down there, you definitely need to get there. No matter where you are in the world, it's probably one of the best spots you'll ever kite. So, oh yeah, a mask helps. Definitely prevents the lungs from filling up with fiberglass. And if you value your eyesight at all, you'll definitely want to wear some safety goggles. So, alright, let's get to it. Here's some of the tools and supplies you're going to need. A disc sander or grinder, some painter's tape, nice sharp razor blade, paintbrush, squeegee, some sanding discs. I'm using an 80, 120, and 220. Probably good to get some wet dry too, some fine stuff for the final sanding. Hand sanding block, some cups to mix the resin, stir sticks, tongue depressors, anything disposable like that. Some gloves, some disposable gloves. Of course, the resin. I'm using the Somar surfboard resin and catalyst. Try to stay away from the Home Depot stuff. It'll turn yellow on you in no time. This stuff's way easier to work with, easier to sand. Some 4-ounce fiberglass cloth. You can also go with some epoxy resin if you want. That's fine. It just takes a little longer to set up. It's harder to work with. This is a polyester resin I'm using. And some acetone. And to clean up everything with. That's about it. A few other things, but those are the basics. Alright, I finished sanding, and what I actually thought was a crack is actually a separation between the, looks like the carbon fiber edge and the wood core. The two materials became separated. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, what I'm going to do is mix up some epoxy and try to force it into that groove. And it looks like that's the way it was originally put together. So, and then I'll let that dry overnight and then finish up with glassing. Okay, the epoxy set up overnight. I'm going to lightly sand it with some 220, and then it'll be ready to add some color. Okay, I mixed up a couple shades of blue, and I got something fairly close. It should look okay. Let's see how it comes out. Alright, looks okay. So now we'll glass it, see how it comes out. I've taped off the section I'll be glassing, and now I'll cut a couple pieces of glass, fiberglass cloth. Okay, this is the first layer. This goes over the damaged area, and then this layer will go on top. And we'll start glassing. Just follow the instructions for mixing up the resin. For this small amount, it only takes a few drops. Just want to work it in. You don't want it soaking wet, just enough to soak through, and let the excess just drip off. Okay, we'll let that set up, and when it's set up enough, we'll come back and trim the edges with the razor blade before it gets too hard. That's the way it's a lot less sanding. And we'll trim this. Okay, I let this set up. It's a little bit tacky. Took a couple hours depending on the temperature. It's going to vary. But anyway, I'm going to coat it with the final coat of just clear resin. And this will be the layer I'll be sanding. You don't want to sand the actual cloth because that will weaken it. So we'll go ahead and do this, and then let's let this set up, and then I'll trim it. Probably let it set overnight, sand it tomorrow. I let this set up just enough so I can cut it with a razor blade. Okay, I let it cure overnight, and now I'm going to use a block sander with 120 to knock down that edge, blend it in. All done sanding. I used some wet dry to finish off the sanding, get out the final scratches. Now I'm just going to drill out these holes, which I glassed over. It's a lot easier to do that than messing with trying to get around them and taping them. So I'll just drill these back out. And there we have it. Good as new. Maybe even a little bit better. Alright, man, here comes Javier. What do you think, man?
I think you are, these are the board repair, magician. That is really nice.
Alright, and it only cost you a couple Red Bulls.
Yeah, that's the best part of it, I really want.
That's alright.